Shit, my camera switched around. What the fuck is up? Y'all getting a signal here? Am I coming through this? Or what? Any comments? I figured if I'm going to stop streaming, I should probably get in this last one. So, I've done entirely too much dip today. I really need to quit dipping. So I got some there are always hitters. Like, there's always hitters that are falling, that get involved in this stuff when I'm like, even with Carnicon and shit. Like, I was always really impressed when I was doing Carnicon when I would meet people that were like into it, because it would just be like really competent people and competent minds and shit. Anyway, there's a fucking system on here. Is a fucking yeah, I know. I'm a bit impulsive. It's because I care. The system fucking dropped a link that I was unaware of, that I had not caught. I haven't been really looking for it. So we did a stream the other night about Noah Hyde. Or it wasn't about Noah Hyde. It came up in the free stream. So we had a free stream. We had a free stream, and then people were asking like whatever they want, and everybody wanted to hear about Noah Hyde. So then we towards the end of the free stream we discussed Noah Hyde. You should probably go into that for a fucking explanation, because I'm not going to explain it in here if you have no idea what I'm talking about. The fucking no hide shit involves decapitation. I'll put it that far. Like, you're gonna get decapitated, and you're getting boiling frogged into it in terms of it being slipped into your legal system. Now, system listed a link to an article from the conversation. It's with this chick, Janine Lanza. Again, I'll let you take two guesses as to what that last name Lanza is related to. Psych, just kidding. It's a Jew. You don't get any guesses. So, anyway, this is an article that's normalizing. It's from 2019, and it is normalizing using guillotines for execution. Like, the entire article is just, arguments for that. Like, slowly shifting the brain of the public into being like, yeah, I guess there's like, now, what's really good about the article is, so when federal executions started back up, right? Obviously, the federal government is not in control. So the same people that are writing these kinds of fucking articles are the people that are. It's all tied in, right? People writing fucking articles, and people wagging the dog of the government are the same people. So, she talks about in the article. She talks about how the death penalty, the capital punishment, is stopped for 16 years. Now it's restarting. Drug companies, and you know who the fuck they are, they have stopped supplying lethal injection medication to the federal government, right? For fucking capital punishment cases, right? And then William Barr is allowing like a catch-all to fucking, use phenobarbital to whack dudes for capital punishment, right? So she's setting up and explaining like how this all flows into each other in terms of the timeline, right? Like, they're already fixing to normalize fucking guillotine shit. I haven't caught. So when I learned about Noah Hyde, it was probably like, I don't know. It was a long fucking time ago, probably like 6 years ago or something. When I first heard about it, I was like, what? What the fuck is this? This is not real, right? It's fucking real. It is 100 fucking percent real, and it's coming your fucking way. It's gonna be boiling frogged in, You know, so it'll be slow. Like obviously you wouldn't accept, like if the federal government just started decapitating people tomorrow, you're not going to accept it. But you know, give it a couple of years, like you'll get there. The the other thing that she really brings up and hits hard in this article is the French Revolution and how the guillotine was such a positive thing for the French Revolution. And the way that she pushes that is by talking about referencing the monarchy, like individuals getting executed out of the monarchy they were given a quick death, and the common thief was given like a quick death also, and so they could avoid all of the like the show of like the public trial dragging on all this or the public display rather, like dragging on, and then like the pain associated with shitty executions and stuff, and the guillotine makes it standard, and then she hammers home like this is equality. The noble and the fucking commoner both get the same, you know, equal justice, are given the same equal justice to allow, you know, France to get through this period of turmoil, right, of revolution. I mean, when I started learning about Noahide, it was years ago, and the articles that I would see about, you know, you would see like shit in like alt media and stuff talking about like the government like ordering guillotines and shit. I don't. This is years ago, so I mean, I don't know if that's even true. It could be true. Who the fuck knows? It's not like it would be far from reality. But I don't think it was true, or I suspect that it wasn't. But I kind of contemporary articles have kind of been off my radar for it. I've been more into like researching the development of the concept of Noahidism. Is what I've mostly focused on the past few years. So this article being so fresh and having to do with like bar and shit and invoking the French Revolution, it's very appropriate for the times because like you are in terms of the Marxist paradigm, like that would be the op four here, like to your blue four. The Marxist paradigm is ripe for the narrative of the French Revolution in terms of like them sensing injustice in the. I mean, everybody's getting injustice. They're just you're each getting like half of a paradigm of explaining it, and then your in game is you guys fucking lopping off each other's heads. But I didn't think it was going to be this soon. I thought that Noahide was going to be far later, but who the fuck knows? Anyway, uh, anyway, that's the fucking scoop on that article. That's the article is from the conversation. The author is Janine Lanza. Shilling for fucking guillotines. You know, it makes like I mean, you Jews are just absurd. You know that? Like, I mean, I in certain respects, it makes me go like, well, yeah. I mean, I guess if you're getting away with it, then I mean, fucking whatever, you know. But like, it's so cruel. I don't understand. I just can't. I can't fucking like I don't understand. Like it's the equivalent. Like how can you be? How can you at all have any kind of blame on fucking Goy when they're coming up and like waxing y'all? Because there's no, you know, like in a tidal wave of blood. I mean, look at this. It's like this is like the equivalent. Like this article, it's like the equivalent of like fucking I don't know, like explaining like tricking a child into like hurting another child or something. That's what it's kind of like, you know. Like teaching a child some bad info because of your, you know, personal fucking your personal fucking perspective of the world that you think is Judaism, and then you're like feeding it to a child to get him to like be your hand. You know, it's like why not? What do you think that God is deceitful? Like, is that the method? Is that the method of construction of creation, like deceit? things would be pretty confusing if the method of construction of creation was deceit as its basis. That would make things kind of confusing, right? That might even uh, cause some intervention there to have to put things back in order, right? So the I don't know. If you all want to get fucking decapitated, get decapitated. You know, fucking go ahead, line up. No, I've never read Jeffersonian Bibles. Any of you guys should I read it? There's a lot of versions of Bibles out there and holy books. It's kind of hard to read them all. Yeah, I don't know if I'm blessed or cursed. I don't know. It's all pub. Somebody's asking me. Jag wants to know how do you spell her name? Janine? Are you talking about the Janine? Or are you talking about last name Lanza? What are you talking about? Janine Lanza. It's in the thumb. How do Freemasons connect to this? So, Freemasonry is obviously clearly, that it's Judaism is higher order than Freemasonry. So Freemasonry is typically associated with First Temple. The my intuition on free now I don't try to study Freemasonry, and the reason why is because Freemasons are very secret. Number one. Number two, I don't think that they understand what's going on in completion. And so their limited understanding could, even if they were willing to share information, could be like their understanding, which is not reality, and could really get you wrapped around the axle. Like I have read books like I've read a lot of Albert Pike and stuff. And that's one smart cat right there, Albert Pike. But there are things that are not what they appear. The Freemasons are like Masonry in terms of what I can understand is that it is a network of non-Jews that prior to having the emancipation of finance in the world, it was used as a secondary network in order to bypass government with information and like directives, like mostly like information, just to have a network that was set up physically of people that can communicate in a compartmentalized fashion. And so if you analyze what Freemasonry actually is in terms of its sociological structure, it basically mimics compartmentalization that's used in like in intelligence networking. It mimics that in a facade of like esoteric mumbo jumbo, and so the idea would be that you could get a bunch of people that aren't going to benefit from it to participate in a unwittingly in a compartmentalized information transmission network without knowing it because of compartmentalization. They won't know. They won't understand like what their part is, right? And then they're everywhere. So like lodges are fucking everywhere, and most of them in the United States came here in the 1800s. A majority of them, like past the Mississippi, I'm saying. And so my guess is that they're mostly informational, like an informational network, to have almost like setting up a landline as a backup to your cellular phone just in case it goes down or something. And then I would assume that during like revolutionary periods and turmoil and shit like that, they can be activated like cells. That's really interesting about freezing water. I've never heard that, but that makes sense. 33 degrees, freezing water. That makes sense. So anyway, so I wanted to throw, since I've already done a live stream today, I haven't started not doing live streams, so I figured I'd probably get that one in there so you guys could check out that article at the conversation and check that out, and you can see how close you're coming to getting your fucking nugget split off. Like I don't know, I can't see it. It's in the thumb. It's Janine. Is it E? Okay, somebody says it's Janeane. JFK and Hitler. Yeah, I mean there's. Yeah. Okay, so I'll give you a freebie. So somebody wants to talk about JFK and Hitler. Is that cool? Yeah. Okay. So if there is like they believe consciousness ascends through vertebrae, that would actually so that's actually Judaism. So in the redemption, like post redemption, like when you have the dead come back alive, they actually come back to Israel through the bone that remains. That's like in the spine. I think it's at like the base of the spine, possibly. I'm not sure. Okay, it's not actually. So this guy gave the wrong fucking spelling. It's Janine. No, oh, somebody said talk about Hitler with an exclamation point. That's now it's like, are you setting me up or what? Am I getting set up for sound bites here? All right, what do you want to know? What do you want to know about JFK? Whoever the fuck asked that question, talk about JFK and Hitler. What do you want? Everybody glows on the inside. Was it a? How the fuck should I know what he shot him with? Somebody asked, was it a Carcano? I mean, that's what they say. How the fuck should I know? Greasy knoll, greasy knoll. Okay. So charcoal is good. Okay, we got a lot of questions here. The wild berries are doing fucking great. They're delicious. I figured out they're black raspberry. It was black raspberry. Um, so Luke's asking me, was JFK a Jew? Was Hitler a Jew? I don't know about JFK. I doubt it. I guess it's always. I mean, you never know who's Marano Jew. Like, this stuff gets very esoteric. You can't really tell. Um, like, not that I'm aware of on JFK. Hitler is most likely Jew. He could be a uh, Never mind. I don't want to get into that. Most likely Hitler was a Jew. Um, oh, we got low bat here. Okay, somebody asked about extortion 17. So I don't really know extortion. I'm sure there's guys that are active that would know way more, or prior active service that'll know way more about extortion 17. So what I understand is that any arms transfer into, from Libya into Syria, which is a middleman conflict to get the guns into Syria. A part of that were like, like supposedly like ground to air missiles, like man portable um, ground to air missiles. And so the supposedly like Stevens like found this shit out, and then basically the State Department through what's his name, Gates, and Clinton, they were like they possibly figured out that they knew, and they knew that they were going to try to stop them, and then so they, through probably like a lot of middlemen involved here, and maybe they didn't even directly hear, that there was like a militia that was going to come attack the embassy or whatever. But that's what happened. You get a militia activated to come and attack the embassy. It has to do with Stevens blowing the whistle on weapons smuggling, and then extortion 17 is like somehow related to that in terms of like weapons getting moved around that are like possibly fucking ground to air. But I don't know. I wasn't there. I didn't have anything to do with any of those operations. So what the fuck do I know? It's just like this is just like dirty rumor I've heard. Okay, JFK. So JFK, you know, obviously JFK is junior, right? So that means like he has a father, right? His father was involved in liquor smuggling operations and is familiar with like Lansky, Meyer Lansky, who's basically like the guy who wrapped up that whole industry when it fell out, and he was like he's the guy that everybody else is just taking wild shots. He's the guy that's like tied in, actually knows what's going on. He's like, okay, I'm gonna sweep this up. Um, so JFK's dad is familiar with all that shit. So JFK's dad starts getting he had a relationship with Ben Friedman. Ben Friedman is he's like a Jew that converted to Christianity purportedly, and was advising, trying to get in the White House to advise presidents, like all the way up until JFK. And then, like, he knew JFK's dad. And so through JFK's dad, he got in with JFK. And he's the one that turned JFK on to understanding what's going on. That's why JFK gives a secret society speech and shit like that. So the you have all kinds of stuff with like the MSM. Um, they had to acknowledge that um, JFK's journal got sold, and it had a bunch of stuff about like Hitler in there, and so the MSM had to acknowledge it. It was actually really funny because they didn't want to do it. They were forced to do it because it was such a radical departure from the mainstream narrative, where it was basically like JFK was saying that Hitler would rise out of history as being I can't remember his wording, being like incredibly influential, and misunderstood. Um, I agree with that sentiment in terms of like it's very misunderstood, but I don't, like Hitler is Zionist in my opinion. So JFK, like when he really got in trouble, so 1961, he does the secret society speech. That's directly influenced through fucking being advised by Ben Friedman. Ben Friedman was on the finance committee under Rolla Wells for Woodrow Wilson's election campaign. He worked directly with Morgenthau and shit like that. Well, Morgenthau is wrapped up in like Armenian genocide and shit. And this is like these are all the guys that like set up the initial fucking op to run World War One, and that would be with like I mean, fuck, and Lusitania, Zimmerman telegram, all that shit. Zimmerman telegram's obviously fake. Like they just set that shit up. It's all fucking fake. They just got him into World War One. The where he really got in trouble, JFK, was when he was trying to pull out a Nam. So he gave an early interview with Walter Cronkite where he states that Vietnam is not his war. We got to get out, and then like this is not the one where Walter Cronkite says the war is now unwinnable. Like Full Metal Jacket. That's not what I'm talking about. This is an earlier interview, like would have been when MACV had their initial losses in their joint operations with the South Vietnamese. JFK was like, "Fuck this! Like, we're getting the fuck out of here," because this is like, approximation of Bay of Pigs and shit like that. He knew that everybody was fucking with him and trying to fucking like game him into a impotent corner and gets. They couldn't get anything on him, so they were, you know, just trying to fucking run the show by disorientation. You So he said like we're getting out of fucking Vietnam, and that was when that would have been like I don't remember probably 1964, 1963, 1964. That's really what set him up to um, get schwacked. The like combined with everything else, it set him up to get schwacked, and then he got replaced with LBJ, and LBJ of course is a dick sucker, so he's gonna be right with the program, and then. Yeah, of course, of course. And then you got executive orders with like silver backing and shit like that. Yeah, yeah. There's lots of things that added up to it. The his awareness of world government and his decision to try to pull out of Vietnam before they even got in there was like a big it kind of sealed his fucking casket on that. But JFK studied Hitler is the kind of unusual, interesting fact. On Fuentes, I don't think that Fuentes is legit. If Fuentes isn't controlled opposition, then he's a fucking idiot. I'm gonna put it that way because he's not signing off on anything that's important. He's viewing like the relationship between Jews and like non-Jews as like some kind of superfluous like political flavor, as if it's not important. Like the only thing that it's if you're talking about politics in 2020, you should be talking about how Jews run the entire world. And if you're not talking about that, then you're a fucking joke. You're dishonest and you're a fucking joke. I mean, politics is a joke in the first place, but you're not, and I don't even mean that in the terms of like you need to be like fighting the Jews or something. I'm saying like you're not even if you're not talking about like Jewish involvement in world government and like all of the nation states government, then you're not realistic and you're dishonest and you're kind of a pussy too. And by kind of I mean you're a giant pussy. Now Well, now what you should understand is that there is a concept in Judaism, like because I'm throwing out the Jews out here, I'm throwing a lot of Jew names. What we should understand is that there is a concept in Judaism called the Erev Rav. It is the mixed multitude, and they're like supposedly supposed to be the ones that are like of the Jewish identity that are running the nation states for consolidation into apex system. Just so you know, that's kind of like some fucking that's kind of some esoteric shit, but anyway, uh, Hitler was necessary. The reason that Hitler is most likely, an op is because number one, like when Hitler comes on the scene, fucking world government starts running the show. They start getting fucking IP transfers from fucking Standard Oil and shit for coal conversion into gas for fuel because of the global public narrative embargo, but they still need Germany to fight the war. And because the German people figured out about, world government and they were not on board prior to Hitler, I'm saying. And so you had this entire period between World War One and World War Two where like the German people were like, "Fuck this," you know, and like it just wasn't happening. Now Germany almost became what the United States is now. Prior to World War One, what fucked it up for him was that when Herzl approached the Kaiser to try to get him to take Palestine and give it to the Jews, the Kaiser was dismissive, and then that's the ultimate reason that like Germany had the history that it did, and why Germany is like destroyed and is not a nation anymore, and why they lost millions and millions of men and women is because of that single incident. That would have been in late 1800s. That is the ultimate reason. Like if you want to really get into it, it's really unfortunate, especially for Jews. If you're like an actual real Jew, it's most likely like a lot of lost tribes that died in Germany and France region from World War II. So it's a very evil thing, World War II, that took place. You know, and I'm sure that esoteric Jews that understand like what's going on and aren't bullshitters like understand the situation with the Holocaust and stuff. And it's just a very sad reality that humanity is sunk to such depths of where we're at. And, may God help us. Love you guys. Have a good night. Have fun.